Happy holidays, mandolin and guitar players. We have a special holiday episode where we even go into the wish list of the year. So let us get started.
Hey there, music makers. I'm Hayes Griffin.
I'm Magnus Zetterlund.
And welcome to the Mandolin Secrets Podcast, a show where we take a deeper look at what's happening in the world of mandolin secrets. Each episode will tackle our question of the week, unpack the latest lessons, and answer your questions about mandolin, guitar, and all things music. In this month's episode, we'll be discussing what music-related items are on your holiday wish list this year. Does your mood affect your music playing or practice? And then we're going to talk a little bit about Magnus's Mandolin Players Holiday Challenge and see who all is joining up with that one out there. Before we dive into the discussion, though, be sure to head to mandolinsecrets.com/podcast to sign up for reminders about our upcoming episodes. And just search Mandolin Secrets Podcast on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe to get updates when we release a new episode.
Yeah, I love that. And we got some music to share with you today. It's both Hayes and me arranged this English carol, We Wish You a Merry Christmas. I mean, let's just face it, every one of us knows this one, right? At least in our head. Maybe we can't play it, but
exactly.
we got it. And this is actually also connected to why I'm hosting what the content of this holiday challenge that I'm running at the moment. So it's like a free 5-day video course we got at the time of the recording. There's 218 participants. And it's basically, And the main theme of this challenge is sort of to kind of craft and cultivate the music that we already know. Like a holiday song, for example, and how music that are in our head, how can we get it out on our instrument?
I love that. That's an essential skill.
It is, yeah. I remember my teacher told me 20 years ago that so if you want to be a proficient musician, you got to learn how to play what you hear. Not only what other people's play and you hear, but also things that you hear in your head. And I think it's so true.
Yeah.
What is your experience with this, Hayes? Is that something you're regularly doing, or what's your story with this idea of taking often like simple melodies that you have in your head, children's songs, music themes, holiday songs, getting them out? What is your...
Yeah, I didn't really do as much of that as I should have until I was in like graduate school. So I guess when I was like 24 or something like that. So I've been playing for like 16 years. I had a professor, it was the exact same thing a teacher told me. It's like, if you can't voice, they were a little more like extreme about it. Like if you can't voice on your instrument the stuff that you hear inside your head, you're not playing music. That was kind of their mentality. And so the whole curriculum, I had to be in like remedial ear training when I was in graduate school because my ears weren't good enough. So we would, he would make us sing like Billie Holiday, with Billie Holiday on record, and then come in and we would have to perform a cappella for the class, after we had like mapped the whole thing out in our head. Then we would have to do it on our instrument, so it was kind of like this process that you're outlining in the challenge. But I didn't do that until I would say way later than I should have.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I had been in that class also. I had a teacher who were really challenging me like that, because I've spent too little time doing it, I must say. But I try to encourage all students to, because I mean, let's face it, it's sort of two different skills, learning new music and learning to play an instrument. And we can kind of skip half of the work if we're trying to play music that we already know.
Yeah.
So it's a very, so I think it is a good opportunity for growth here for all players. So that is the main idea of the challenge. I'm not there to teach you any new songs, but craft the repertoire that you already know, sort of.
Yeah, I think that's a really great thing to point out because so many people listening right now probably don't even realize how much music they actually know. They wouldn't be able to play it on their mandolin, but like thousands of songs probably that we all know inside of our head, right?
Yeah. And then also one interesting thing with the challenge, because both you and me know Karen, our host in the Mandolin Secrets Facebook group. She's the admin there. She recommended it would be a fun thing to kind of host a little contest or something during, in the coming months. We were talking about a few weeks ago. Then we realized maybe we can do that together with this the holiday challenge, so that people can actually post a video of them playing a holiday song.
Yeah.
And then I also tied into the challenge is how to actually make I call it like a quality video with a smartphone. So people actually learn how to, some basic techniques for how to do a proper video that they then can share with their family and friends and even the Mandolin Secrets community.
Man, you're not just training mandolin players, you're training content creators out there too, man. You know that?
Exactly. Yeah. But it's honestly the first time I'm making a video for how to make a better video.
Yeah. Well, yeah, God knows that you and I have watched a lot of those videos over the years, right?
Oh man.
You probably have a good idea of how to make a good video though, so I'd be interested to see that.
Well, I mean, both you and me, we made hundreds of videos, so a little bit of this knowledge is packed in the 5th day of the challenge. So everyone out there that want to get into this, head over to my website. It's mandolinsecrets.com/holiday. Sign up for free and you will get all the content, the workbook delivered to your email inbox. So yeah, a little bit of promoting here from my end, but I hope people don't mind.
It's something they want to be a part of anyway. And it's free.
It's free. Yes, it's free. But also, I think connected to this is also the release of We Wish You a Merry Christmas, our new. But, and it was funny because when I mentioned I'm going to include this one, you also said, well, I've also done an arrangement of this tune.
It was in the air this Christmas season, I guess, you know.
So if you don't mind, I would like to play back your arrangement of this and we can talk a little bit about it and then play back the mandolin version. Is that in?
Please.
Yes. So here comes We Wish You a Merry Christmas with Hayes Griffin. This is actually solo guitar. So, and for everyone watching the video, that will be obvious. For the ones only hearing this podcast, maybe it's not obvious because you can hear there are like counterparts and harmonies added in this little arrangement. Short and sweet, here it comes. Yeah, really nice. So, funny thing, we picked the same key, you and me. It's in key of G major. Sounds really full on the guitar in that.
I was going to say, I have a feeling we picked the same key for the same reasons, right?
Yeah.
The open strings definitely help for those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And this one's actually kind of a bit of a level 2. I call it level 2. We Wish You a Merry Christmas. Inside of the Guitar Club, I've got 3 arrangements of it. And this is kind of like the straight down the middle version, I would call it. level 1 is like the basic melody, and then level 2 we start to, like you said, add some chord shapes
Yeah.
underneath of the melody, and some like you were saying, some like counterpoint and um, what would you call it, like diverging or counter melodies, you know what I mean,
Mm,
moving in opposing directions and stuff like
mm,
that. So
mm.
this one sounds very classical to me, or something like that, you know. So
It has, for sure. And what is you mentioned even a third level? What would the third level add to it then?
the main thing that we add to the third level is cross picking, which
Yeah,
um that
nice.
one I would say, you know, we haven't listened to it yet, but it's a little closer in spirit to the one that you put out for the mandolin, I think.
Yeah, and this is so interesting because we haven't planned on this, but so I also made a three level, uh, like a beginner with a basic melody, a second one adding some double stops, and then the level three, the more advanced, with some cross picking. So exact same procedure.
It's almost like we, you know, yeah, we've worked together for years and think roughly the
Yeah,
same way. That's
yeah,
hilarious,
yeah.
dude. Yeah,
And what
that's
I
great.
also, when I worked around with this, I also realized I wanted to add a little bass line to it. So, uh, and that then I also hadn't heard an harmony idea for it. So it came out as a three-part arrangement: the melody, the bass line, and the harmony. And then when I recorded it, I made it like this. So playing it as a solo piece, I'm using the level 3 arrangement with a bit of cross picking.
Mm-hmm.
In the duo arrangement, there's the melody with some double stops, like the level 2, and
Mm-hmm.
the octave mandolin. And then for the third uh, time through, I play the basic melody version, so single string melody, and then bass line and harmony. So the melody part becomes more simple the more instruments we add to it, sort of. And
That's
it's
kind of awesome, right? Because the arrangement's becoming more complex, but the melody
yes, yeah,
becomes
yeah.
simpler.
So that's the way I choose to record it, and yeah, I want to play it back also so people have an idea for
Yeah, let's
and
check it out.
coming here. So it's three times through Wish You a Merry Christmas with this little progression as I was talking about, coming here. And of course, complete tutorials in both the Guitar Club and Mandolin Secrets Academy. Someone want to check it out. And another thing we asked our community here is, how did we frame it? What is on your holidays wish list this year? So starting with you, Hayes, is there any music related on your wish list?
Oh, absolutely. So one, the guitar stand that I've been using for years finally died on me. So a new guitar stand. I got to have the one that's like right next to my desk where the guitar, sits every day. It kind of
It didn't hurt the guitar.
It didn't hurt the guitar, but I noticed one day, like, I set my guitar in the stand, and then I went to grab it, and it was like 4 inches, 5 inches lower than it was when I set it down. So yeah, exactly. So I grab it out of the stand, and I need to get a new one of those. I'm not sure which stand I'm going to go with, to be quite honest. There's a couple that I like, but that's the main one. And then,
do you like those one where you're hanging the neck or where you're more standing the body? Which one do you prefer?
So I liked the one where I was hanging the neck, but that's the kind that started to creep down. It's like the piece that keeps it in place. It's like microphone stands where it's a small piece of plastic that wears out after a while, right? Yeah. So I might have to go with a more of a cradle stand like you're talking about. So that's definitely on the list. And then I actually already got one of my Christmas presents early this year. It took a minute, but I don't know if I showed you this one, but I got my dream electric guitar,
look
dude.
At that. No, I haven't seen it. Wow.
So I have never in my life owned a Gibson solid body electric guitar. Wow. So I've always wanted a Gibson Les Paul ever since I was a kid. And this year, it finally happened. So
Santa came early. Nice. Is this like a Les Paul standard?
Yeah, it's a Les Paul standard. And the new Gibson kind of has like a new classification for their Les Pauls. There's a 50s standard and a 60s standard, and this one is the 60s standard. So it's got like a bit of a thinner neck on it and Grover tuners. That's like the only difference between the two of them is like the tuners and the neck profile.
Cool. So it's a new guitar, this one?
Brand new Les Paul, yeah. And big shout out to my friend Brandon at Guitar Guys in Heath, Ohio, my hometown. He and I were in our first band together, like our rock band, when we were 13 years old, and he owns the coolest guitar shop in Ohio now, which is dangerous when your friend owns a guitar shop,
Yeah. Congrats on that one.
Yeah, man. Thanks. So that was my holiday wish list this year. But
I tell you what, you're not the only one, because asking the community, Jim Green says, on my wish list, a second-hand Peter Comby custom oval hole mandolin arrived on Friday. So a lot of people are actually telling that they already sort of it was someone else. Just got an Eastman MD 314, says Alan. Early Christmas box to myself. So some people have already, but as a general theme, people want Northville mandolin, Paul Duff AFAM. Many people are wishing for upgrading their instrument, I think. Reed says music stand with light.
That's a good one.
George, he says, new guitar strings. One can never have too many backup sets of strings.
Agreed.
But I also found this comment from, let me see if I can find it. It was Dale had one thing that I wanted. Yes, Dale says he he's wanting another iPad dedicated to just music. I find the iPad really useful, especially slow downer, but I have to get all my gear together now. With an iPad by my practice area set up for music, it would be more convenient. For example, a friend has an iPad music stand with a foot pedal page turner. All his sheet music is there on the device. No hunting for the right three-ring binder, he says. And I just really resonated with that because it's sort of in the same theme as you. I got a new iPad it was when we recorded maybe in October And
Oh,
yes, like Dale is saying, it's so convenient with having I have all my sheet music digital in this app. And I even since then got a page turner so I can switch the pages from the
I
really
just started
convenient.
messing with one of those this year. Do you like that setup, like the page turner and the iPad sheet music thing?
I love
Yeah,
it. I love it, I
yeah.
must say. But I
I
think
have all the gear. I've just not tried it yet, so I need to mess with that.
but I want to ask you still, what is the size of your iPad?
Oh yeah, see that's the thing. I've got the old 9 incher like you and I were working with forever. I need
Yes.
that big iPad Pro or
So
something. And
what I recommended to Dale. If you want an iPad for sheet music, go for the bigger one. That's when it's yes, because it's so
I
worth it.
yeah.
And also, I actually left this little tip to Dale and some other students who were interested in that. You don't even have to get a brand new iPad because the iPad Pro at the 13-inch, it's been around for maybe, I don't know, but I'm guessing now, but let's say 6-7 years. So and if so, I got an used iPad 2 years old, but still, I mean, for sheet music and all other cool iPad stuff, it's really, really powerful machine. So that is also one thing that instead of going for a new iPad, the latest one small, maybe see if you can get a used but big screen for the same amount of money, and it will be
Yes.
so much worth it. And it
That
also
sounds great.
for this Symphony Pro that you are using, or the slow down and all that will work perfect for with an iPad that is a couple of years old.
And I never even thought like Symphony Pro would be even better with a bigger screen,
It
like
is,
writing
yes,
on it and all that.
yes.
Yeah. So
So I'm really happy with my new big iPad. So I guess that's a little bit on my wish list.
yeah.
But so cool with that Gibson you got there.
Yeah, dude.
I was actually, you turned your back and were going to grab something. I thought maybe you're gonna bring up your new callings, the acoustic guitar, but
Yeah. It's the year of new
surprise,
guitars here, you know what I
yeah,
mean? I guess. Yeah,
yeah,
that's I've got that
nice.
one here with me too. That was the best present I could have received all year, man.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I guess anything more to add for the wish list question?
No,
No.
I think that's good on my end, but if anyone has any suggestions for a good guitar stand, you shoot me an email cuz I'm
Oh,
I'm researching.
yeah. I guess I'm using the I think similar to the ones that you had, the Ultimate stand where you're hanging. But
The
I'm
Ultimate is the one I had, yeah.
yeah. But I'm only been using it for my mandolin sort of. So maybe that's also because I had it for many years, and up to this point, no problem. But also mandolin is lighter than a
Yeah.
guitar, so maybe that's the reason.
I think the thing that actually showed me that the stand was not functioning correctly was putting an electric guitar on it.
A
It
Les
was the
Paul.
It was exactly because like
Yeah.
Magnus knows this, but
Oh,
maybe some of you out there don't. But the Les Paul is notoriously the heaviest electric
yeah.
guitar out there. It's a mahogany slab with a maple cap on top of it. Usually they're
Mm,
like 10 or 11 pounds. This one's a
mm,
light one. It's 9
mm.
pounds. So,
Okay.
but yeah, that was
Yeah,
the thing that
that's. I've never owned a Les Paul, but I played one a couple of times, and I remember that the heavies, because I was well at my when I was an electric guitar player, I played a Stratocaster, and I remember the extra weight coming from the Les Paul.
yeah, it's
Mm.
definitely a much different vibe than I think a lot of Fender players would be used to, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had one more question that we should check out before wrapping this entire year up, actually. It's the last episode of the year.
Yeah,
And,
that's awesome.
But I asked the community this question. Where do I got it? Yes. Does your mood affect your mandolin playing or your music playing or practice, I would say? Does your mood affect your music playing or practice? I think here's the first comment. Quite popular question, got a lot of responses, but this coming from Dan is straight to the point. Your mood affects everything that you do.
Full stop.
Yep. Yes. Why would music playing or practice be any different?
Yeah, that's pretty true, man. I mean, I resonate with that. Like, yeah.
I have a little twist in it that I want to share, but first, Hayes, can you give us an example of a practice routine and the way it would differ for you depending on where you are, where your mood is?
Yeah, I think this question is particularly relevant this year because we talked about the Winfield experience that I had in September, right? So that was kind of, there was a lot of months of prep leading up to that, and I think I even mentioned this in the episode where we talked about Winfield, where the challenge of Winfield from the get-go for me was almost a mental game. A mental and emotional game. You know what I mean? I kind of approached it that way. So I would sit down and sometimes try to actually think of stuff like bad stuff. Think of negative things that had happened to me or just like negative emotions while playing to see if I could kind of come back from the ledge, you know what I mean? And kind of steer my mind back toward the act of playing music. As opposed to
to me, it sounds like making the conditions a little bit harder, almost for yourself.
Yeah, like adding more mental friction, you know, and noise. And I would notice, like, say that I was in a bad mood, like an angry mood or frustrated mood that day, I would play harder, and my tone would be terrible, and I would notice more tension in my hands, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So. I don't think we realize it, but when we're angry about something or frustrated about something, we hold that tension in our body. You know, a lot of us, it's either in the jaw or the neck or the shoulders, and if you put an instrument on, I mean, that kind of translates. It creeps into other areas of your body. So,
absolutely.
That's my experience with like mood and emotion and stuff.
That's really interesting. And I also. When we talked about Winfield, I do remember you frame it also like it was sort of you were feeling like you were competing with yourself, sort of. You were there to see what, and I can just imagine, because I also know your really thorough preparation for this. You sat down every day, maybe even a couple of times every day, played through your set, your repertoire, and I can just imagine that some days you would probably feel like, oh man, this is rolling. This, what a great music that I created, sort of. Another day it would feel like, this is the most silly song ever. Like there must be a big shift in from one day to the other, and because that's my experience when let's say I've composed a tune, one day it feels like, oh, this is such a good tune, where next time I play it, this is just bullshit. I mean, you know.
Absolutely, dude. I'm so glad to hear you talk about this because it changed for me. Like you said, I'm writing arrangements that are going to be judged by other people.
Yes.
So I'm like thinking about it critically. And I can think of so many times where I would sit down to play. The one that was, I can even name a specific tune, Dear Old Dixie, the one that I played very last in the contest. On more than one occasion, I sat down and was like, this is the worst arrangement of a fiddle tune that I've ever heard in my entire life. You know? I'm just like, there's no way that this is going to get me anything at Winfield. You know?
Yeah. It's interesting how your mind is tricking you. And it's so, it's so like... inspiring to hear your honest experience of it also, because eventually you pushed through, you sat there and you played it and you placed second. So I mean,
yeah, I mean, maybe I could have placed first if that arrangement was better.
Oh.
No, I'm joking. No, man, I'm with you. You know, it was we can get in our own way, and sometimes you lose perspective when it's just you sitting there with it, right? Like it's
yeah, absolutely. I have one thing that what I also shared regarding to this question, if does your mood affect your playing in practice? For me, it also true the other way around, in a way that my playing affects my mood. So I even on days when I'm feeling a bit low, when I got the blues or whatever it feels, I try to show up for the mandolin.
Yeah.
Because most often it can also kind of like get me through things. So that is also one powerful thing with the art and the craft that we are into, that it can actually be, well, to quote one of my students, this is what Patricia said, that like, and she plays the mandolin, so the way that she put it is, the mandolin is the best antidepressant and anti-anxiety. You can't be angry or sad playing the mandolin. It evokes so much joy. That's her experience. And it was in kind of an interesting take on it, I think. Like, use the music and the playing as an anti-anxiety kind of thing. And it's...
I like that. I resonate with that too, you know, even if I am sitting down and it's a bad day playing, even on the day where I'm like, this is the worst arrangement in the world, after I get done playing, I feel better than I did before.
Yes.
You know, like it's always better to play some music than to not play music.
Absolutely.
I totally agree with her.
Yeah. That is actually a really good way to wrap up our mission, our message. It's always better to play music than to not play music.
Yes.
That is, that's true wisdom from Hayes Griffin right there.
That's awesome.
No, yeah, but there's a new year coming around the corner, and I'm pretty sure we'll come back to these topics again and again. But thanks everyone for tuning in, listening to us. So much fun to have this podcast and connect with people through this medium as well.
Yeah, it's been a great year. 2024 has been really awesome with the podcast. Obviously, Magnus and I got to have a little in-person visit earlier this year, and it was cool seeing how many listeners I got to meet in person at Grenna and all that. You know, so it's we appreciate all of you guys out there listening to us, and this is a blast. So
thank you everyone, and well, I guess we can. Whether you're celebrating Christmas or any other holiday, but we're wishing you some good time here, and The thing on my mind is this: we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and always remember, fellow musicians, be a music maker.